Welcome into the D2 Baseball Podcast. Robert Fry here today, and we have a special guest here from Southern Nazarene University, Chris Moddelmog, who's in his first season with the program. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, and we appreciate what you do for D2 Baseball. Look forward to talking today.
And Coach, kind of talk a little bit about, use this time to talk about your background, one, and then two, what was the process like of, getting hired on at Southern Nazarene?
Well, background-wise, my background's a little crazy. Obviously, I did this right out of college. Went to junior college in Kansas at Neosho County. Give Coach Murray a shout out, one of my good friends and mentors, and then was fortunate to go to Murray State University in Kentucky. Shout out to I'm a thoroughbred. They're not the racers to me still, but those guys. So I coached there. I was at Belmont at Wren Lake for the first time. Fort Scott JUCO in Kansas, Ouachita Baptist in this league. So that's the Cliff Notes version. Then I got out for about 10 or 11 years, kind of to watch my own kids grow up, and never thought I would be back in, to be honest with you. But the good Lord works in crazy ways, as we say. So, but never really got out of baseball. Did some lessons. I owned a sporting goods store for a while in my hometown. We ended up having batting cages there. So we had baseball going on, softball going on every day. So started doing some club stuff, helping some friends, and then ended up a good buddy of mine at the high school my kids went to, close friend. Coach quits 2-3 weeks before the season, and I was never going to coach high school baseball, but jumped in to kind of help. And as my wife said, hey, you probably need to see if you want to do this again. And we were kind of in the process of selling our business and stuff, and wanting to kind of relocate out of Colorado. So again, and then went to Wren Lake. Got back in at Wren Lake, a good friend and another mentor in Tim Wills, who gave me the chance to get back in college baseball. Probably one of the only places that obviously is going to hire a guy who's been out for 10 years, and was fortunate to, I thought that would be my last stop, to be honest with you. We loved it there, had a great setup, was the assistant AD, eventually most likely going to be the AD. And then this opens up. And we've got some ties here with family in Oklahoma City, and a chance to, both of my daughters are here. And that was obviously very intriguing, and just obviously what SNU stands for, a really good Christian environment, good people, good facilities, great campus, great education. And in a great league. And so was fortunate to talk to Danny Thomas and the AD, and the process was pretty quick. And, as we got into it and, really, really prayed about it and thought about it for some time, and it just the doors just kept opening, and it's just a great opportunity to really build a program from the ground up.
And Coach, we'll start there. The embracing of the values of Southern Nazarene University. You mentioned, having those family ties. You have one daughter who goes to school there, another daughter who is in the athletic department there. Talk a little bit about not just being, within the values of Southern Nazarene, but being able to embrace it too, having family ties there.
Yes, and that's a big piece of what they stand for. One of the things they talk about on campus is purposely different, and obviously getting the chance. There's a lot of kids that's the education that they're looking for. Obviously you also get kids that, come here and haven't been around that, and that's okay too. We, but what we stand for here, and trying to, we're far from perfect, but just trying to live what we're doing every day. And a lot of the same things I've done my whole career, with servant leadership, some things we're trying to do with our kids. And, a lot of guys make the freshmen do stuff. I'm making my seniors do stuff first. so they can show, hey, and I told them we'll let the younger guys work later, but I want them to show and lead by example. And those are some things we're trying to put in place.
And within that too, kind of reflect a little bit about your second stint at Rend Lake College, finishing up there. You finished up with a regional final appearance. Talk a little bit about kind of that second stint experience and how it helps you prepare now for Southern Nazarene.
That's a good question. The thing I probably learned being out for 10 years, I think I do things a little differently. Obviously, having my older daughter played college softball at Oklahoma Baptist in the conference. Obviously, my younger one's playing college volleyball. So going through the recruiting process as a dad, as I tell families, say, I've driven 10 hours and watched my kid not get off the bench. That's part of life, I mean, as I say to people, but you see things differently. I was able to kind of watch while I was out, being a sporting goods guy. I got to see lots of different coaches do things lots of different ways. I picked up a lot of things from basketball guys to football guys to lacrosse guys to soccer guys, just seeing how they do things, and what they, the biggest thing is what you put emphasis on daily is what you're going to be good at, are some things that I think I picked up. And obviously just the relationship piece is something I've strived to get better at, and getting to know your kids, what makes them tick, how they need to be coached, letting them know you care about them. That's the biggest piece that I think, I call it, I've had 3 careers, my first career, and then my real life career as out of it. And now the third piece, and again, fortunate to get it. So you don't take it for granted every day.
And so speaking of that, your life out of the kind of baseball realm, in that break, talk about some perspectives that you had or some learning experiences that you brought into once you got back into coaching.
That's a good thing. One of the big things that I started doing when I got back to Rend Lake was meeting one-on-one with my guys monthly, and sometimes more than that. And mostly not anything about baseball, just life and, hey, how's school? It's amazing, there's a lot going on in our crazy world today. And these kids, I had a kid a couple years ago, man, coach, don't tell anybody, but I just miss home. I mean, and you don't think about those things unless you really get to know your kids, and really the relationship piece. And as we know, when you get your guys to trust you and know you believe in them, they're gonna play hard for you, and a lot of one of the other things I've really hit on probably better my second career is, Coach Jarvis at Belmont is one of my mentors. He's like a brother to me, and he always talked about, it's not about winning or losing, it's doing enough things right daily. Baseball's a crazy game, and really not trying to play the same way all the time and not to the scoreboard.
And kind of talk a little bit about within, your experience as a coach. You have experience in this league, in the Great American Conference, coaching at Ouachita Baptist for 3 seasons. Talk a little bit about, that experience and like what you have seen from the GAC then to what you might see in the GAC now.
That's a good question. It's when I was there, we were in the Gulf South, and they were just moving when we kind of chose to go a different direction for a while and be with the be with the family. But it's a really good league. The Arkansas guys, in fact, I actually sent one of my best guys last year to Patrick down at Harding, and wish I could have brought him with me, but got to know. I have a lot of those guys have recruited my guys. Those guys do a really, really good job and have helped elevate the league. Know a few guys on the Oklahoma side, and obviously getting to know them. But having 4 teams in a regional, that's pretty good stuff right there. And another reason, for me, this is an exciting opportunity to jump in with really good coaches and really good programs and good people too. But they've elevated it, and with facilities and getting better players and things like that. But it's a good league and a league that we're excited to be a part of.
And now to kind of drill down into the coaching aspect of things, from your perspective of coaching, how has it evolved over time, and how do you plan to kind of mesh it now at Southern Nazarene?
Like you say, it evolved. I mean, people talk about kids being different today. I mean, I think they are in some ways, but to me, kids want discipline, and that's where we've started from day one since we have been here. And I'm fortunate was able to put a really good staff together kind of late in July. Coach Danny Brazabon, a pitching coach, had just been hired and is fantastic. And Coach Carson Kennard was just got done playing as a GA, and then Kobe Gurrell just got done playing. We're fortunate to have some guys that have been in the program, but the discipline piece, the culture piece, people talk about it and having expectation, but you got to do it. You got to do it every day and hold guys accountable. And that's what our guys have really bought into in the first month is, hey, there's an expectation and here's how we do things. And we're really detail oriented, the little things as I told them, we're going to teach you how to get off the bus here before we go somewhere in the spring. We're tuck your shirt in, take your hat off when you go inside. I mean, that's where it starts. Does that help you win games? At the end of the day, I think at the end it will, just because we're going to be disciplined in what we do. But I think kids still really want discipline nowadays. But you got to find out how they react, because everybody's a little different. But holding our guys accountable, that's a big thing of what we're trying to build our program on.
And so you kind of mentioned, what makes kids tick, how they react. From your experience, what goes into creating a coaching style for those kids based on how they react to certain things?
Our style, and that's the thing, is our style is we're really hands-on. Player development is a big thing that we kind of hang our hat on. And me as the head coach, I'm not a sit back and watch. I'm front and center and want to jump right in there. And I probably actually do it more since I was out for a while. But those are things I think guys want. They want to be coached. They want to get better. I think it's the dialogue too. I was working with a hitter yesterday in practice, and hey, coach, that doesn't feel right. I'm okay with that statement. So I've got to say it a different way so it makes sense to them. And maybe one of my coaches says it better than I say it, and that's what helps them figure out their swing. So you want kids to be able to have an avenue and feel comfortable saying, hey, what about this? Hey, let's go for it. It doesn't always have to be my idea. I'm okay with that.
And to kind of start on the recruiting side of things, once you were hired, I'm sure you had to hit the ground running in terms of filling out your roster. Talk a little bit about that experience, trying to build out a roster in such a short amount of time.
Well, we were fortunate. Coach Ledbetter had done a really good job of getting a good crew of kids, and they all stayed with us. We were fortunate to add 5 or 6 down the stretch in the last couple weeks. Some guys, I was able to bring one with me that hadn't signed yet, and a couple other guys that I think will possibly be impact guys. But fortunate that that's the culture we're fortunate to be coming into is kids. Those kids stuck with it because they like it here. Lots of turnover. They lost 19, 20 seniors. So we have, I think, 34 new guys. So, and with the coaching change, that's not all bad. That's okay. I mean, it's, so the new guys aren't going to know, they're going to just know our way of doing things. And the returners have jumped in with both feet and have been super supportive and really done a good job of leading the way.
And Coach, now with your couple years of experience, or I should say experience overall at the junior college level, and especially today in the era of the transfer portal and things like that. How does being a 2-year coach help you prepare for being a 4-year coach today?
Well, that's it's interesting. I've talked to some of my colleagues in the business about just with the transfer portals. Some of the guys at our level are unfortunately maybe turning into a JUCO guy because and I've told some kids in recruiting, if you get good enough and you think you want to go try to get to Division I know how to get you there. I got guys all over the country. Now, do I want that? Not really, but if that's the best thing for that kid, I mean, I'll help them. I'll make some phone calls for them, and that's probably not the normal thing. Obviously, I want them to have such a good experience here. They don't want to leave, but a couple of years ago, my first year at Rend Lake, I inherited a big old left-hander that popped, and he ends up being the GRAC pitcher of the year, and Western Kentucky and all these other places come hunting for him. And at the end of the day, it was the best thing for him. And would he have helped me win 6, 8, 10 more games the next year? Yes, he would have, but it was time for him to go. And that's part of it. But I think just with my connections, with JUCO guys, whether it be Kansas, Illinois, Missouri, learning the Oklahoma guys, guys in Tennessee, Mississippi that I've been playing against. I think that will help us just because those guys know me, they know our style of play. And I know those guys too, as well. And they know kind of what kind of kid I'm looking for. So that will help.
And so now to kind of talk a little bit about, the Southern Nazarene program itself, you have been involved in the past as a hitting coach. What's your involvement with the offense now? And, kind of talk a little bit about, the philosophy of offense, of the style of offense that you plan to contribute at Southern Nazarene.
Well, that's obviously something we want to hang our hat on, is style of play. We want to play fast. We want to play with tempo. We want to, eventually really run the bases well. Those are things my guys are already in a month. Like, are we going to run bases again? But that's what we do. It shows up every day, hopefully. And just being really, really sound and having a really good approach at the plate. Really buying into a 2-strike approach. But that's, style of play. We want to play fast. We want to, we want to be a havoc on the bases. We want when people play us, we want to put pressure on them so they make mistakes. And that's this game. Usually, whomever makes the most mistakes that day loses. So, the flip side, we want to be super sound defensively, and again, I'm big on making a routine play. Those are things that we're building a mindset of, here's how we do it offensively. And that's kind of how, and we will be able to recruit to that. Our park, the ball flies out a little bit here. I'm learning. I had heard, and that's a lot of places in this league. But the flip side, when you're not hitting, you've got to be able to score with a walk, with a stolen base, with the dirt ball read, and a sac fly. Those are things we want to really be good at.
And so within that too, now that part of the side, but now more of, you kind of touch on a little bit, but expand on it a little bit, the off the field side of, what type of, we'll say the word culture, do you want to cultivate in this program?
Well, just really, really coaching, we want our guys when they leave here, to be really good people first, and take with them and go where they can, be good husbands and good fathers and good people in their whatever they choose to do. But those are things we talk about daily. We did study hall the other night, just teaching these guys how to do things correctly in school, and how to be prepared, and how to manage your time, and how that all comes together. And as we know, if you're doing things right off the field and taking care of business, usually it helps you on the field be a better player. I mean, it all goes together. So, those are things. And, it's the relationship piece and wanting them to understand, being a good person and trying to lead by a good Christian example is something we want to try to do, and just be a good person and be a good role model, and people that when they see us, they're like, hey, those guys are different. What's going on? So that's what we're trying to do, and with all of our guys, and from 1 to 48, that's the other piece. I think my second go around, I try to be better at. We try to be better at, and really giving everybody the attention they deserve.
And Coach, now within that as well, use this time to kind of talk about the Southern Nazarene program. Like, what should the community of Southern Nazarene, what should fans, possible fans of Southern Nazarene expect, with your program?
Well, first of all, they're going to see, hope a bunch of kids that love each other and are playing for each other. That's kind of big right now in the coaching world, but it's true. I said the other day, I want you to be more excited for your buddy who hits a home run than you are if you do, and that's hard to do, but we want to, want people to see, man, these kids play hard. They love to play. They love what they do. And they want to get better in everything they do. And that's another thing on campus. I ran into our president the other day in the cafeteria, and he talks about excellence, in everything you do in life, and who you represent. And those are things I said, hey, I think you wrote my practice plan today. Those are things we're trying to get to. And so those are things that, it's not coming just for me. It's coming from the top. And those are things we're excited to try to live out every day.
And Coach, final question I have for you. You kind of mentioned some names, but throughout your coaching experience, who are some mentors / people that got to where you are today?
Yeah, and obviously first started with my dad. My dad was a high school coach, and he passed away last November. So just trying to be an example, because he was so good at it. He got out of it when we got older and was a high school counselor, and so trying to emulate, do things that he did. Steve Murray at Neosho County. I mean, he's one of the best. He loves his players more than anybody, and he does things differently than anybody I've ever been around. But you love the guy, and obviously Dave Jarvis at Belmont. I was around Dave a lot, and but I've learned a lot being out. Dan Skirka at Murray State. Dan coached with me at Ouachita for a year when he was a GA, and just watching him grow. Luke Howard at Ouachita. Guys that are head coaches now that I'm super proud of, that I got a chance to work with those guys. They're way better coaches than I am, but just good people and doing things the right way. Guys that what Dan did in Murray, I mean, not to get off task, but what he did there, nobody understands. It's what he did is unbelievable. Getting those kids to buy in and believe, and their approach at the plate was as good as anybody in the country. And I obviously ended up in Omaha, but they do it the right way. They're leading by example from the top, and just seeing again how some of these young guys and the energy those guys bring every day is second to none.
Thank you again, Coach Moddelmog, for joining us. And we're really excited to see what you can take with this program and going forward. But we appreciate you taking out the time to chat with us and talk about the program and yourself.
Hey, thanks for giving us the platform. And we've already had some kids on campus recruiting, and it's fun to see, just trying to change things a little bit. It just needs a little tweaking. And I think we've got a great campus. We've got good things for people to see. That's what's fun. It's nice to get people here. We got a great city. we've got a lot of good things going, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And but it's going to be fun to give it a shot and watch our kids grow on and off the field.
And that is head coach Chris Moddelmog at Southern Nazarene University. We'd like to give a big thank you to all of our regional tier Patreon members. We couldn't make it to the 9th inning without the support of all of you. You're the real MVPs, hitting a home run for the team every single time. Thank you.